In today's Leeds news, Harry Gray's international future, Allardyce critical of Marsch impact, Bogle praises James Justin, and Rumour Mill's story on Promise David. Hey folks, welcome to the Leeds View for your news on Thursday the 19th of February. Jer here. There's a bit of stuff to get stuck into, just a couple of contractual sponsorship obligations to get out of the way. OK Jerseys are doing an 8% discount on all of their shirts. You can check out some nice World Cup shirts, getting ready for a World Cup summer, as well as Leeds United having a clearance sale on the home shirt and some of the leisure wear as well. You can check those links down below with Fanatics. We'll have a podcast out tonight, myself and Jerry McDermott, having a closer look at the Leeds United Academy, as we tend to do at least once a year. And we're going to have a look at some individual players this year, as well as Leeds United's Academy's scouting network and what they've been doing locally over the past 12 months. You can check that out later on tonight if you want to. There's a bit of stuff to get stuck into, and we'll start off with one of Leeds United's current Academy stars, and that is Harry Gray. Harry's current loan is going pretty well at Rotherham United. He's had a little bit of a break in the last few weeks due to the FA Cup, as well as the weather conditions in the north of England, causing lots and lots of games to be postponed due to pitch conditions. But all the talk is now starting to switch backwards towards the international allegiances for Harry Gray as we approach the March international break. And Harry, as we know, is eligible to play for both England and Scotland. His brother has played for England at youth level, as well as Harry at certain age groups as well. And the Scottish FA are said to be very, very keen, as they were during the last international break, to try and get Harry to point his allegiances towards Scotland. Harry's father, grandfather and uncle have all played for Scotland on the international stage, and Eddie believes that Harry and Archie will both end up playing senior level for England, which he says, and he jokes, he doesn't like the sound of that. On Harry's potential allegiances in the future, Eddie said the following. Harry, he's very outspoken. When he was younger, he used to say, I'm going to play for Scotland, but I think if he's good enough, he'll play for England. Their granddad, my brother Frank, they played for Scotland. Andrew, his dad, played for Scotland as well. It's a big tradition in our family. If they're growing up in England, playing for English clubs, then I think it just follows that they'll end up playing for England. Archie's played underage size for England, and if Harry progresses how it looks as if he'll progress, then he'll end up playing for the English sides as well. We'll have to wait and see. Now, obviously Eddie's got much more inside track than most people have on the lads' futures and where they're going to go, but in saying that, the Scottish FA, as I said, have been very, very keen to try and get him to point his allegiances, as I say, towards them. It should also be said that during the last international break, Harry wasn't involved in international football. He was said to be taking time to consider his international future. So it wasn't cut and dry that he was going to declare for England and move forward with that way. And I suppose a lot of it depends on the player as well. If he wants a quicker, faster pathway into international football, Scotland might be able to offer him that, especially if he ends up playing Premier League football at Leeds. England could be a trickier, slightly longer path. But again, a lot of it depends on what he's able to bring to the table when he starts playing regularly at the top level of club football. But it's an interesting one, and we will keep an eye on it, especially over the next couple of weeks, because the call-ups will start to happen, and maybe he even gets a shot call-up to the Scotland side for the World Cup, and if he can finish the season strong for Rotherham United. Let's move on and talk about Big Sam. Sam Allardyce took over a handful of Leeds United's games at the end of their last Premier League camp. It was a tough job for anyone to take at that point, but he was trying to keep Leeds in the league, which unfortunately he couldn't do. But a lot of that wasn't at his feet. After Jesse Marsch left the club, Jesse spoke an awful lot about the metrics and the data pointing in the right direction, that Leeds would be fine, and that's something he's been mocked and criticised for in the years since his departure. But he's continued to speak about Leeds on a regular basis, and his last interview just over a month ago, he said that Leeds United fans were more focused on sacking the manager and transfers than they were on tactics and getting points. And as the Square Ball lads very rightly pointed out, the reason people were focused on sacking the manager and players was because the tactics and the results weren't good enough. Big Sam has now weighed in with his opinion on the Leeds United squad that he inherited after Jesse Marsch and Javi Gracia. And the data and metrics that he's talked about don't make good reading for Jesse or anybody else. And I think we all saw this on the pitch, and now we've got a bit more information to add to this. Speaking on the No Tippy Tappy podcast, Big Sam said the following. Bielsa had the top physical stats in the Premier League, so Leeds United were number one. So when I got there after two managers, I thought at least they'll be fit, but they weren't. They were bottom three. The two managers after Bielsa had allowed the physical stats to drop into the Premier League's bottom three. I thought that if they're in the top six, at least we're fit enough to stay in the game, and if we can stay in games, we can organise ourselves and get something from the games. And if the opposition aren't where we are, we've got a chance, which is what Bielsa did. Bielsa's last 20 minutes when I was at West Brom, they were still going as fast as they were in the first 20 minutes. And I thought, wow. Allardyce also pointed out that he couldn't understand why two managers had allowed those statistics to drop so far away from where they were that had kept Leeds in the Premier League the previous 2 years. And he said fitness was the most important thing that you had to have in a side. Now, obviously, Javi Gracia was between Jesse Marsch and Sam Allardyce, but he wasn't there for a long enough period of time. And most coaches and managers will say a lot of the fitness work is done during pre-season, which would have been Jesse's time. You look at the fitness level that Leeds have right now. You look at the metrics that have Leeds in the top 2 of running staff, and then versus individual quality in the side, Leeds are probably punching slightly above their weight in 15th place right now. So it does have an impact, and it definitely does show for a side in the Premier League and what you get on the pitch in terms of performances. So yeah, not a great one to look, but there you go. I think we all saw that during that point as well, that the Leeds team just didn't have the effort and fight and legs to try and stay in the Premier League come the end of the season. But I suppose it is what it is now. We'll move on. James Justin has been one of Leeds' most shrewd signings of the summer, and he's shown as the season has progressed how useful and important he has been to Daniel Farke's team and style of play. Justin came in to offer competition to the right back position, but has ended up forming a pretty decent looking partnership with Jayden Bogle as a right-sided centre back, or as a double right back at certain times during games in the last couple of weeks. And it goes a long way to show how well he's been playing along with Bogle, that both players are said to be in consideration for an England call-up come the March international break. Bogle was speaking with BBC's Adam Pope about the impact that James Justin has had on the club since he's came in. And Pope asked him, can you tell that he's got an England cap just from the experience that you've seen so far? And Bogle said the following. Yeah, you could see from the moment JJ came in, he's got massive experience, played a lot of games in the Premier League level as well. So yeah, he's a great person to have, a great person to play with. It's been a joy. Bogle also pointed out to the fact that it's great to get that level of competition in the side as well, and that's very healthy to have, and it's healthy to have it all across the park as well, and it only pushes players to be better and push them to their top level, which again I think we've seen from a lot of players in positions so far this season. But Bogle did laugh when Adam Pope said, it's a World Cup year, you're playing pretty well, could this be your year? And he said the following, nah, only thought has been totally focused on what we're doing in here and what we're trying to achieve by the end of the season. And Bogle praised the platform that the club have given him this season and last year to show what he can do at Premier League level and to put in the level of performances that he has done. He's been fantastic for Leeds over the last 2 years. You think about both of these players and what their fans of the other clubs they left said about them. We were told Jayden Bogle couldn't defend him. We were told James Justin was washed. When you look at the performances both of them have put in the Premier League this season, and both of them have been absolutely fantastic and an absolute steal for the amount of money we spent on them. Obviously, we had the story earlier this week that showed that Liverpool had a bit of a look at Jayden Bogle during the January transfer window, which again is an indicator of how well he was playing. But it's a nice and humble response from Jayden Bogle about the England side and the potential World Cup plans. You like to see that from players as well, keep their feet on the ground and focus on what they have to do. But because of that, fingers crossed, I'd love to see him get a call for international football. It would be fantastic to see. Let's move into the Rumour Mill section. And as always with this, we're going to keep track of all these players during the non-transfer window parts of the year. We'll make a list of who's saying it. And come the summer when the window opens, we'll see who's been accurate and who's been making up things as the year's gone along. We'll jump into it now. Just the one to talk about. And it's a name that has been mentioned with Leeds United before. And it's Promise David. And we know that Leeds United will likely go into this summer's transfer window looking to add another striker. They tried to get Jurgen Strand Larsen in January, but the PSR window, or the SCR window as it will be called, reopens on the 1st of June. So Leeds finances will reset and they'll be able to spend money on players. And that's a massive important factor here because Leeds, when they went for Strand Larsen, could only offer a small fee with a loan and an obligation to buy at the end of the season. When Crystal Palace came in with cash up front, Leeds just couldn't compete at that point. Come the end of the season and June 1st, Leeds will be back in a position where they can put cash up front and actually compete. And if Jed York's comments over the last few days are correct, we will see more investment from Leeds United in the squad this summer. Union St. striker Promise David is a name that keeps popping up for Leeds, and he ticks an awful lot of the boxes. And according to Transfer Market, he is one that Leeds are very interested in pursuing. The 24-year-old Canadian striker is pretty in demand. A fee of around £20 million is said to what's going to be needed if anyone is to try and get him. But the more competition means the fee will likely go up. But he does tick lots of the Leeds United recruitment boxes and fits in with a lot of what Leeds are looking for in the style of play that we see right now from the club. On the physical side of things, he has a massive physical presence. He's 6'5" in height and he's really quick along the ground as well. He can play in the wide areas as well as through the centre as a number 9. Probably not an out-and-out hold-up striker, but is physical enough to do that. Very much a player that likes the more direct style of play. This season, he's played 23 times for Union St. Gilloise. He has started 16 of those games. He's got 9 goals and 1 assist. He's also started 5 Champions League games this season where he scored 2 goals for USG in that competition. He has got very high pressing statistics as well, and according to reports around Promise David, he thrives in a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 system, something that will be very appealing for Leeds United if we decide to move into next season playing the way we are right now, and given the centre halves we've got right now and how they've settled into life at Leeds, it would make sense that Leeds would continue to do that. Now, there's significant interest in Promise David. His current contract runs until 2029. That's the only box that won't be ticked from the recruitment perspective. They like players in the last 6 months of their deal where they can get the price down a little bit. They might have to stretch on this one if they are to get him. The clubs that are named as being interested in him: Newcastle United, Everton, Brighton, Wolves, and Sunderland. Sunderland obviously signed Noah Siddiqui last year from USG as well, so he's been a huge success in the Premier League. So the adjustment period for a player coming from USG is probably seen as being a little bit less than some players from the Belgian Pro League. So it is an interesting one. When we were talking about strikers that Leeds could go after in January, if they couldn't get Strand Larson, Promise David was one of the players top of the list that I wanted to see Leeds go after. He's a Canadian international footballer. He'll likely be playing at the World Cup. He's getting better and better as the years have gone on. He does have some very, very attractive attributes that would suit the Premier League. That physicality is a huge part of it, but also his pace and intensity as well. So could be an interesting one. Do I think we'll get him? I think it'll be tough. If, again, assuming there is any real interest in this story or truth to this story, but we'll have to wait and see. But he is a player, and I think a lot of people have said it in the comments over the last couple of months as well. His name has popped up, and he does, as I say, if you look going through a list of who's the kind of striker that would fit what Leeds are doing right now, his name definitely pops up on that list, and he could be part of one of Leeds' short lists. But, Troy Parrott's always floating around as well. We'll get to him, no doubt, in a couple of weeks' time. We'll see what happens there. Folks, that'll be for me on the news today. We will have a reaction to Daniel Farke's press conference over on bigup.com about 3 o'clock. You can check that out if you want it. And outside of that, back tonight with the podcast with Jerry McDermott to talk about the Leeds United Academy. I'll see you later on. Mind yourself. Bye.